Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. One of them is about a reprieve for the auto industry on some tariffs. And then I've got another headline about Chainlink and the amount of Chainlink that has moved onto exchange in the past 2 weeks. So we'll dive into those headlines after we get you prepped for some success today. I've got that stock heat map pulled up. Like always, we are seeing a little bit of some bouncing going on after that announcement of some reprieves on those tariffs. We've got Apple sitting in that neutral range, down 0.08, and in the pre-market looking down 0.60 so far. We've got Nvidia sitting up 1.13. In the pre-market, getting hit a little bit hard, down 2.4. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting in that neutral range, up 0.53. And in the pre-market, seeing some sell-off, down 0.82. We've got Amazon sitting up 2.24 from its close yesterday, seeing some downside action in the pre-market, down 1.48. We got Eli Lilly sitting up at 2.05 in the pre-market, getting hit just like the rest of everything else, down 0.72. Got ExxonMobil sitting down 1.95, looking pretty neutral in the pre-market so far, down 0.15. We've got Tesla sitting up 2.6 in the pre-market, looking to take back all of those gains, sitting down 1.97. We've got P&G sitting up 0.83, looking quite neutral in the pre-market so far, down 0.18. We've also got Microsoft sitting up quite nicely from its close yesterday, up 3.19, looking quite down in the pre-market so far, down 1.24. We've got Google sitting up 1.38, looking to take back all of those gains from yesterday, down 0.97 in the pre-market. And we've got Meta sitting up 2.57 in the pre-market, a little bit down for the morning, down 0.76. We've also got the crypto side of things. Let's actually pull that up. I forgot to pull up those crypto bubbles. Let's get that pulled up real quick. Hop over to my favorite list, because that's that top 25. And as you can see, for that 15-minute, we're looking down, but the daily is looking a bit mixed here. We've got some sitting up on that daily, some sitting down on that daily. Bitcoin up 1.5. We've got Ethereum up 3.2. XRP up 4.9. We've got BNB up 0.7. Solana up 2.4. We've got Cardano down 3.8. We've got Dogecoin up 3.5. We've got Tron sitting a little bit neutral, down 0.07. We've got Pi Network sitting down 3.3, looking to hold that 11 position. We do have Chainlink up 8.6. We'll kind of have to see how high it can get, because I will definitely be taking a look at Chainlink today, because you might want to start looking at some shorts. We're actually talking about that in our Discord yesterday. So if you're not in the Discord, you are missing out. We got HBAR sitting down at 2.4. Stellar Lumen sitting down 1.1. We've got Avalanche up 4.1. We've got Leo token down 0.7. We've got SWI sitting up 7.2. Litecoin up 2.9, Shiba Inu up 2.4, and to wrap that on out in the top 20, we've got Bitcoin Cash sitting up 4.9. let's hop over to that economic calendar real quick and break down today's data. We do have some jobs data coming out in about 30 minutes. Looking like we might be seeing some change in that market. We will also get some jobs data a little bit later as well at 8:30. That one's looking to slow down from that initial 2,420,000 jobs down to 235,000. We'll kind of have to keep our eye on that 8:30 Eastern time frame. We also get balance of trade looking like a big decrease on that as well. So more imbalance on that trade deficit. We'll definitely have to keep our eyes out for that 8:30 time frame. Later in the day, we do have a few Fed chairs speaking as well. That will be in the afternoon. We have Fed Waller speaking. We also got a speech from the Bank of UK. So that will be another speech to keep your eyes out for. They are ahead of us in our rate cutting cycle. I've talked about it a lot. They're starting to head back in the right direction. So hopefully we can kind of head back in that direction. We will have to bring some strength back to the U.S. markets, though. We do have another Fed chair speaking at 7 Eastern time tonight. That will be Fed Bostic. Later in that evening, we will be getting some import-export data out of China. I will definitely be watching that one because we have a massive, massive trade deficit with China right now. And that's something that Donald Trump has talked about wanting to close the gap on. And that's part of why you do see this pause on tariffs for the auto industry. He wants to give them some time to kind of set some things in motion, and we'll break that on down once we get over to that news article. Let's hop over to those fear and greeds for the morning. We do have that stock side still sitting in extreme fear, down 2 points and sitting at 19. For the crypto side of things, we're still in extreme fear, up 5 points though, as we are trying to reclaim a key level I have talked about. We got a nice little bounce off of it. We'll have to see if that holds. We do have, for these shorter term time frames, some liquidity sitting to the top side of us. So kind of a nice upside target for those market makers to try to get up to and really turn these lower levels into some strong support. We do have some liquidity sitting at 92,000, almost 700, and a nice little hot spot above that sitting at 93,500. Zoom this on out to that 3-day and you can kind of see that these heat maps are starting to look pretty bare on both sides. We have grabbed a lot of the bottom side liquidity, and we're looking for that top side liquidity to really be the drag back to the top side. You have that 3-day looking quite bare. The 1 week also looking quite bare, as we have taken out the light hot spots on this move back to the top side. You also have that 2 week looking quite bare. There is a bit of a hot spot right to the top side of us at 95,300 and ranging all the way up to 95.6. Some light hot spots above that sitting in that 97,000 range, and then again back at that 100,000. But that real hot spot is sitting right back up at that 95,600 range. That's the real hot spot on that 2 week. And if you zoom that on out to the monthly, you can kind of see that's where we start seeing the real hot spots starting to light up. That's going to be that $100,000 that we're really trying to get back up to. There's a lot of liquidity sitting up there, about $100 million in this whole range here. We still have some to the bottom side, but it looks like we're finding some strength right now, and we'll kind of have to see if we can continue that trend. Let's pull up that Bitcoin chart and say good morning to everyone. We saw Mike Volmer first in the chat. Good morning to you. I see username dropping those rib emojis. Good morning username. I see Knox Bill with that pink hand. Good morning to you. I see Arsan246 in the chat. Good morning. Got Alexandra G, the mod queen, sitting in here this morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Username seen link ready to dump on the 7th. Duh. Yep. We'll kind of have to dive into that one once we get over to that news article. Got Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning to you, Crypto Billy. Hope you're having a great morning so far. You're probably still in your pajamas. Wish I was doing the same. I will probably do a stream from my pajamas tomorrow because there's no semi-truck driving on Fridays at my semi-school. So I might do a stream from my pajamas tomorrow. We got Jeffrey Stonecipher in the chat saying good morning, everyone. And let's see. We got Crypto Billy saying ADA down because Charles isn't going to Trump Crypto Summit, only because he's in Japan, but market doesn't like that. You know, Charles Hoskinson, I've definitely got a bone to pick with him, but I feel like he does what he thinks is best for ADA, which, you know, is both a net positive and a net negative. Sometimes you get that you get him saying things that he probably should have not said on Twitter, but for the good of his coin, he does not let himself be swayed. So I do like that. He sticks to what he believes and he doesn't really get swayed by that. So I don't think it's necessary that he actually be at that summit, and I think the markets like to read too much into things sometimes. He's doing his own thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. We got Crypto Poyo in the chat. Cluck to you. Good morning. I hope you're having a great day so far. Let's hop into this Bitcoin chart. All right. Got that pulled up on the 4-hour here. It does look like we're trying to find some strength here at this level I've talked about right above my buying zone. This is that 90,800 mark. We've gotten a nice little wick off of it and an indecision candle here. We'll kind of have to see if this money flow from the shorter term time frames can roll over into these higher term time frames. That's what we've been waiting for that strong push back up to the upside. You have that MACD looking a little bit indecisive as it has started to move sideways here, but we've got a lot of width from that indicator line to kind of move a little bit sideways or to kind of just get a little bit of downside action back into our box here. Maybe a bounce off of that midline or the bottom again. We do have this 382 being very strong support. So if we do end up unable to hold this box, that 382 is a strong bouncing point, but I would like to see us get back into this box, get a bounce off of that $90,000 level, which is that midline of my buying box, and really move back up to the upside, show that this 90,800 is some strong support. That would cool these oscillators off just a bit as we wait for that money flow to bleed over from our shorter term time frames. You can see our prime oscillator is very green here. You've got some very strong buying volume coming in as this money flow starts to slow up from some selling pressure. This is what we want to see on our higher term time frames for a continuation push to the upside. I see maybe a Band-Aid in the chat. Good morning to you. And Jesse, good morning. I think he was just a teensy late there, so hopefully he got some sleep, as Crypto Billy was saying. Jesse got some sleep. We got that 1-hour chart looking like it's cooling that off quite a bit here. You might see that double bottom here at this strong support. You can kind of see those candle bodies are very strongly on that level I've had drawn out here, and I'm kind of waiting to see if we're going to cool these prime oscillators off, wait for that curvature back up as our money flow is starting to bleed over from the shorter term time frame into that 1 hour as some positive buying pressure. You do have these oscillators looking to cool off and wait for some more strong money flow. This 1 hour volume is quite solid as some buying volume. Really waiting for that curvature of our prime oscillator. It does look like it has a little more to cool off here before you get that strong pushback up to the upside. That MACD also looking quite similar as it is below that indicator line, but we are very strong above the zero line, and these red candles that we started printing here are just a light red and very small for now. So looking to see if we can try to hold this green box for a change as we see some slight sell off on our shorter term time frame. You have that 15-minute and the morning looking like you're going to see a little bit of some continued sell off here. Your MACD has cooled off quite heavily after we rejected off of that $93,000 level last night and have gotten that move back to the downside. We are trying to hold this as some support, but with the way that the prime oscillator is looking, your volume and money flow is looking, it looks like you might break back into this green box here and try to bring in some more money flow. The higher term time frames are starting to look green. We just need this shorter term time frame to get green again and continue to bleed over into our higher term time frame. That's that $90,000 level I would really look at. If we were unable to maintain that like we did yesterday, then I would look back to the bottom side of this range where we really got that strong pushback up, got some nice touches off of that midline, and tried to do some battle with this key level up here. That'll be that first level we really need to turn into some strong support to get back up to $94,100. That's that next real area we will do some strong battle with on Bitcoin, especially with it being a strong resistance area, and you do have some liquidity that is residing right above that up here. So that's a big drag to the upside if we can really get back above this level here this morning and then turn it into some support. I am going to watch about that 1 hour time frame to see that turned into some support for a strong push to the upside. We'll kind of have to see where we find our bottom here for the morning. I see Blocky Crypto in the chat this morning. Good morning, good morning. I made some clarification on the bot in my Discord general chat. Not sure what bot you got there, but Jesse says he'll check it out, and I'm sure he will send some of that over to me because he was sending some cool breakdowns of indicators to me yesterday. We got Baba Yas in the chat saying good morning and dropping that coffee cup. Good morning to you. Let's hop over to this first news article. That will be that Trump and tariff news for the auto industry. We got Trump delays Canada and Mexico tariffs on autos. GM, Ford, and Stellantis stocks rise. All right. The White House confirmed that President Donald Trump is giving the automakers a 1-month exemption from his 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada. That is helping boost shares of the big three automakers. General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis were given the reprieve so that they are not at an economic disadvantage, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reporters on Wednesday. Shares of those companies rose more than 7% on average, while the S&P and Dow Jones Industrial Average added about 1.1%. Stellantis is the Netherlands-based automaker whose brands include Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram trucks. The delay came after Trump spoke with the representatives from the Detroit three automakers. We're going to give them a 1-month exemption on any autos coming through USMCA, Levitt said. USMCA is the acronym for the US-Mexico-Canada Agreement, a trade deal that Trump negotiated during his first term. When a reporter asked if it was enough time for automakers to adjust, she said Trump told them that they should get on it, start investing, start moving, shift production to here to the United States of America, or they will pay no tariffs. Trump told Congress in a speech Tuesday night that he had talked to the big three automakers that day, saying that we are going to have growth in the auto industry like nobody's ever seen, with plants opening up, deals being made, and tariffs that he said would see the auto industry absolutely bloom. Automakers have been seeking an exemption from the tariffs since Trump's announcement last month, warning that they would increase the cost of manufacturing auto parts and car prices. Tariff fears have weighed on the sector. Coming into Wednesday's trading, Ford, GM, and Stellantis shares were down about 15% on average since the November 5th presidential election. This is something I've been talking about quite heavily. Seeing manufacturing brought back to the U.S. would be a very good thing, especially since back in 2008, when all of these companies got bailed out, they immediately took all of those billions and billions of dollars and then built plants in China instead and put a bunch of American workers that were making American cars out of work. And you now see a lot of those companies have been manufacturing the small parts in China, having those shipped over to either Mexico or Canada to be put together, and then for very cheaply moved across the border into America. And this is why Trump wanted to impose that 25% tariff on some of these industries to force them to come back to America. You can't really call yourself an American car maker if you don't make your car in America. And if you want American excellency, sometimes you're going to have to make these things in America. We have higher manufacturing standards, which is something I've watched quite heavily. As you see these cars being made elsewhere, the rates of recalls on cars are at all-time highs. So that might be something that you kind of see switch. These cars might be made just a little bit better, and they might last just a little bit longer. We will kind of have to see the repercussions of this. I see Allset in the chat. Good morning to you. And I see Wayne C as well. Good morning. I know Allset's going to be happy about one of the assets I take a look at this morning. I will be taking a look at H-Bar because I've been watching it quite heavily too. And I've got a giant trend line that I've had pulled up for a while. And we are now back to the top side. I'm looking for a test of the top side of that line and then a continuation to the upside. We'll kind of have to see if that plays out. This is that other article I was teasing this morning. We've got 223 million Chainlink moved to exchange in 2 weeks. Is selling pressure incoming? Chainlink has faced a massive volatility and uncertainty, with price action resembling a roller coaster ride over the past few days. After trading around $17, Link plunged to $13 before rebounding to $16, all within less than 3 days. This extreme price movement reflects the broader market's instability as traders struggle to navigate between bullish excitement and looming risks. The The crypto market remains highly reactive, with investors balancing hype from Donald Trump's U.S. strategic crypto reserve announcement against the macroeconomic uncertainty that continues to weigh on sentiment. While potential for increased crypto adoption fuels optimism, concerns about inflation, interest rates, and regulatory pressures keep many traders on edge. On-chain data from Sentiments shows that 2.23 million Chainlink have been moved to exchange in the past 2 weeks, a sign that selling pressure may be increasing. This shift in supply raises questions about whether large holders are preparing to offload Link or simply repositioning ahead of a major move. As the volatility remains high, traders are watching to see whether Chainlink can hold key support levels or break out towards new highs in the incoming weeks. The next move in both Link and the broader market will be crucial for determining its short-term direction. Chainlink struggles below key levels. Chainlink is currently trading below crucial resistance levels, with bulls struggling to reclaim lost ground. A breakout above these key levels could trigger a rally, but until then, uncertainty remains high. The broader market sentiment is mixed, and the analysts and investors worried about the possibility of a continued drop if Link loses support and falls below range lows. Metrics suggest a potential distribution phase in its horizon, raising concerns that large holders may be prepared to offload Link. Top analyst Ali Martinez shared on-chain data on X, revealing that 2,023,000 Link have been moved to exchange in the past 2 weeks. Historically, this type of activity precedes selling pressure, as big players typically transfer assets to exchange with intent to sell. If selling accelerates, Link could see a deeper correction, further delaying any bullish movement. And we will kind of have to dive into that Link chart here later. I did have that one pulled up as well, because I've been looking at some lower prices for Link as well, and that was before I even saw this news of millions of Chainlink being moved onto exchange. Let me get that one added to the list, and then let's take a look at HBAR as well. Put that one on the list. If anyone has any other alt requests they'd like me to take a look at, go ahead and drop those in the chat. I see Crypto Bedell in the chat saying good morning. Hello all. Hello to you, Crypto Bedell. I hope you're having a great morning so far. I enjoyed our stream Tuesday. Sorry I didn't get to stick around. We got hit with a blizzard. A 60-mile-an-hour straight line winds knocked out some power. So I will see you Friday, though, for that Crypto on the Rocks. Let's hop over to some of these TradFi assets. I see XRP requested. I was going to take a look at gold. Let's get XRP on the list there. You can see gold trying to make that move to the upside here. I did talk about potentially seeing that 236 and bounce on our Fibonacci extension before we really get back to the upside here. Looking like we've got our little bit of a bounce there. This 1 hour looking like it's got a little bit of some sideways movements to do here at our 50% fib line, which has been a nice area to kind of hold us up as we try to get above that 2,917. You can see we got some nice bounces to the top side on it before we really dropped back down. This was a short-term level I was trying to look at to see if we would hold, and it looks like we are now back above that. We are looking to try to turn this 2,906 and that 50% fib line into some strong support. You have money flow looking quite nice on this 1 hour chart. It is nice and green here as our prime oscillator has cooled off quite nicely. Your volume has slowed up on that selling pressure, so looking for that continued money flow to come in as we do see continued market uncertainty. And this prime oscillator to switch back over to the green as our MACD gets that curvature here. It does look like it has a little more downside to cool off as these candles are switching from red to light red here. So waiting for that money flow to really come in quite strongly and push us back up to that $2,917, and that's that 50% line on our fib extension. You do have this golden pocket being a very strong resistance area at $2,930. That will be that next area we really need to turn into some support for gold. Let's hop over to silver real quick because silver is doing quite nicely as well. It did get a nice little push back up above our long running trend line, and we're looking at the bottom side of it. And this is where, if that money flow does roll over, you might see that push back up and reject a little bit lower here. You have some strong levels right below us to kind of hold silver up, though. That will be right here at about $32.60. That'd be that first real area I would kind of look at for a short-term bounce if we do reject off of our trend line to go lower. I see Al Jr. in the chat this morning. Good morning, good morning. And Conspiracy Crypto as well. I see Sol requested and ETH. We were talking about Sol in some of those chats yesterday as well. I got some ugly levels on Sol that I was taking a look at. I know some people will be happy, some people won't. It will be a strong buying range if we really get down that low. If not, there's that golden pocket to really hold us up on Solana. I was taking a look at the Dixie yesterday. It got craps all over as we saw all of that tariff news start coming into play. We do have a little bit of an area below us that I'd been talking about for quite a while. That's a 102.93 to try to see if we can get a little bit of a bounce there. Let's zoom this on in to that 1 hour. See where we're sitting there. That daily does still look a little bearish. This 1 hour still looking bearish as well. We're sitting below the zero line, printing some green candles here as we do get some sideways movement. Looking a light green though, so some continued sell-off could be heading our way as this MACD line is pointed quite sideways with that indicator line as well. Prime oscillator looking back to the bottom side. Volume is green here very briefly, but it's unable to really hold up price too much. Let's zoom that up back out to our 4 hour, and you can kind of see that we are starting to get to a bottoming point on our MACD and the prime oscillator. Arsan saying, did you have a show yesterday? I did not. I was sitting without power until about 9:40 yesterday, so I was unable to do my show. I really wanted to tease some moves for yesterday. It really threw my whole day off. Those straight line winds just blowing ice knocked out most of my city's power on the north side. We've got a lot of those above ground power lines, and the south side has the underground power lines, so they're sitting a lot better. They did not lose power, and we did. So it took a little while since most of the north side of our city was without power. We got that 4 hour looking like it's trying to find that bottom. Prime oscillator sitting red here as our volume continues to slow down on some selling pressure, and that's where I'd look for our floor down here, especially with how that shorter term time frame is still looking like you're going to see some sell off. That 1 day as well that we started out on does look like it has some continued downside as well. but that prime oscillator is starting to show those first signals that we might see a reversal start heading our way. Our first oversold signal has flashed here, but your prime oscillator is still looking heavily red as we wait for that volume and money flow to really come back in here. Conspiracy Crypto saying, same here in San Antonio. Wind knocked out our power this week. Yeah, that wind off of the Rockies has done a lot to both Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas and Nebraska, where I am. We got blizzards here. My mom in Oklahoma got tornadoes. So it's been a whole mess in the Midwest. So I'm glad you're doing okay there, Conspiracy Crypto. Hope you're getting that power restored there as well. All right. I was taking a look at some TradFi assets I had been talking to my roommate about. He is getting into some investing, so I wanted to talk to him about some investing potentials for the long term. These are not an immediate move. I do see them having a little more downside as you do see some uncertainty in the markets, but this is one I've had my eye on for a while. This is a SMR, and it is an energy play, and they do this is New Scale Power Corporation. They do nuclear power, and I've had my eye on nuclear stocks for quite a while now. This is sitting down in the pre-market. I did talk to him about a platinum pocket bounce down here at $12.30. That'd be an area I would kind of look at buying a little bit into and kind of wait to see if that's the floor. If not, you do have some levels below us where we could come all the way back down to $10 and about $10.50 would be that next little area I would look at. Below that, that's where we saw a bit of some resistance here before we really got that move back up to that platinum pocket to kind of to start this uptrend here. You do have a few levels below that as well. That $6.80 is where we got that strong bounce to start this move to the upside here. So plenty of buying ranges to come in as we see this administration being heavily energy dependent and wanting to kind of switch from oil into some nuclear. Trump did tease that quite a bit in his election. When he was in that whole election, he talked quite a bit about nuclear, and that's where I had my eye on a bunch of nuclear stocks. This is just one I would look at holding for the long term and kind of see if we do get some clarity on what kind of power routes the U.S. wants to go. Because, we can't be dependent on oil forever, and the only other alternative is nuclear. So I will be keeping my eye on this and giving y'all some updates as we go. All right, let's hop into some of those alt requests. That first one I was taking a look at is HBAR. Let's zoom this on out to our higher term time frame so you can see where I pulled my trend line from. This is from all the way back here where we got these very equal wicks, and you can kind of see we've rejected off of it several times on that way down. When we got above it, we held it quite nicely for a while before really dropping below. And we are now at that point where we're sitting above it all over again. Got that strong bounce from this candle wick here, which I had drawn out from February 25th. And I was looking for that bounce off of it to really hold us up and get above that trend line there. Let's zoom this on in because that daily does look like it's a bit indecisive here as we try to find this as either support or turn it back into some resistance. We do have that strong area right below us at $22 or 22 cents as well. That could kind of hold us up. That 4 hour looking like you do have a little bit more downside here to kind of cool off that MACD and wait for some strong money flow to come in. Volume is very, very green here on our 4 hour, waiting to see if we can kind of get that bounce off of this trend line here and continue on up to this 50% fib on our retracement. That's going to be 30-cent H bar all over again. We haven't been there since January, and that's a strong area of resistance. So if we do get up there, I'd kind of look at maybe rejecting off of that just a bit, coming back down to test some of these wicks where we had a lot of selling pressure down at about 25 cents to try to continue up to the upside. That 1 hour does look a little bit bearish as well, as you do have that MACD line trying to play with that 0 line, and it looks like we're going to lose it as your indicator line has that curvature back down to the bottom. Your prime oscillator also red here as our volume is starting to turn red as well. So looking to see if we either have a bounce off of this trend line or a bounce off of the golden pocket right below it. That would be those two areas I would look at holding. The 15-minute does look at like it has some continued downside with the MACD pointed straight down here. Let's zoom that on in quite a bit. There we go. We got that MACD line pointed straight down and our indicator line not getting above that 0 line for very long as it continues its downside trend. You do have volume starting to pick up as some buying volume though, so that's where I'd look at that bounce off of either our indicator line or our trend line or that golden pocket. Those are those two levels I'm really looking at. That's about 23 cents, or for the bottom side about 23.50, and that's almost 24 cents for that trend line bounce there. All right, that was H bar for you. Let's take a look at Link, because we did have that big news article. We talked about a lot about Link in our Discord. It did get that nice bounce off of this short-term trend line that I had been short-term resistance area that I had been talking about from back here at the end of February. We did get a nice fair value gap up to the top side, and that was that $17 mark that article had been talking about before we really rejected down through it, created another fair value gap on the way down, and we're playing below that platinum pocket there. Turned that platinum pocket back into some support, moved back above that resistance area, turned it into some support, and we're now trying to make that move back up to the golden pocket. Let's delete that short-term one, and this would be the next two areas I would really look at. If we are able to get back above that golden pocket here with some continued money flow coming in, then that golden pocket as some support might be that first little area you might see some of that Link really sold on exchange. As we try to see if it can get back up to $19.42, where you'd start seeing some more selling pressure come on in. That's that 15-minute in the morning. It does look like it might retest that $16.53 mark. Let's move that up here. So you can see where that bounce would be. That'd be that $16.53, where we've got a lot of play off of here. We got that rejection to the downside, you got that rejection to the downside, that rejection to the downside, and then these nice candles really wicking off of that $16.53 to the top side. That 15-minute looking very toppy there though. You do have this 4 hour looking like it does have some continuation here on our MACD, but you are starting to see that slight curvature here on our prime oscillator and MACD, but your volume is holding quite steady here on the 4-hour. That's where I'd look at that lower level to kind of see if we can cool that oscillator off just a little bit and see that money flow continue from the shorter term time frame. We've got that 1-hour looking like it's seeing a little bit of a retracement heading its way, as it has two divergences stacked up, and that prime oscillator is red again, looking to see if we can hold this volume here as buying volume and wait for the cool off and that push back up to our golden pocket at $18.20. That'd be a strong level to really take some profits at and wait to see if we go lower or higher. Like that article was saying, we are below some key resistance areas for link, and that's where I'd really wait to see if we're going to get that break to the upside and about $20, or a break to the downside back towards our platinum pocket there. This golden pocket is a strong area to kind of see some rejections off of, and if we don't turn it into some support here on about that 1-hour time frame, it would look back to the bottom. All right, we had XRP, Sol, and ETH requested. Let's hop over to XRP. Let's save that so it doesn't get messed with on my tablet, because I like to trade on my tablet too. So XRP, let's scroll up. It is sitting at number 3, and we were looking at it in Trade Academy yesterday. I had requested that because I had seen a potential move to the upside, and it looks like it's starting to play out. I was looking to try to see if we get this move up and turn this key short-term area into some support to continue up to the 236. We do have some strong resistance above that 236. So if we can get this nice strong bounce off of $2.56 to really send things back up to the top side here, that'd be that $2.71 I'd really look for. You do have that 1-hour looking like it does have a little bit of some downside on it. Your prime oscillator and indicator line are moving in tandem here, so to see those move in tandem as they cool those oscillators off just a little bit, with the prime oscillator still staying green as it gets that curvature back up, looks a little bit bullish, as our volume is still heavy buying volume. That 15-minute and the morning looking like you might get that continuation here. Prime oscillator sitting red, but your volume is still buying volume here. MACD looking towards the downside, but if you zoom it on out there, you can kind of see it is more of a sideways move down. So seeing some curvature back here at that 0 line would be that move to see. It does look like we are going to retest some of these levels down here at about $2.50. Arsan, where do you see that? XRP scan says the ledger is handling great on TPS. Arsan saying XRP sucks 0.35 TPS. I don't dive too much into all of that, but we'll kind of have to see if that's actually true. I might have to dive into some XRP a little bit heavier. It's been a while since I've done a deep dive into their blockchain, so we'll kind of have to see on that one. That 1 day does look like it's got some room to run to the upside here, so that's where I'd wait for those key levels to really be found. You've got your prime oscillator moving quite sideways here, but it is green. Your volume is starting to slow down on some of that selling volume, and your MACD is above your indicator line here on the daily. So waiting for that money flow to really bleed over from those shorter term time frames as we try to find those key areas of support. We did have Solana requested as well. Let's hop over to Solana. And then maybe take a look at ADA as well, because I know Billy brought that up in the chat as well. That's another one of those assets that got listed by Donald Trump. So I'd I've been looking at those assets a little more heavily. I see Lunar Beaches in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you are having a great morning so far. Get some caffeine in you and get a little bit of some alpha for the day. I don't know if you want me to take a look at LTC, but I think I got some time to do that. We only had one other alt request here. We got Solana on the daily, looking like you might see that last little bit of a push up here at about that 50% fib line again before potentially seeing some continuation to the downside. You've got your MACD looking quite sideways here as it has broken above our indicator line. Indicator line moving quite sideways as well. Prime oscillator moving sideways. Volume and money flow are red here on the daily. I did have a level down here at the golden pocket I've been looking at, and that's about $100 and $118 that I look at for some strong support. And this is where we've seen several wicks off of that 130, and it looks like you might retest that if volume and money flow continue to stay in the red on our higher term time frames. You have that 4-hour looking like it's rejecting off of that 50% fib line all over again. Your MACD looking to cross back below our 0 line here as it's already started to print light green candles, and your indicator line is starting to move sideways here. This was a very quick move of money flow into the green, and it's already starting to roll over. As you can see here on that zoomed in look, might try to make a higher low and continue, but it's looking quite bearish on all of these higher term time frames. You have that money flow trying to hold green, but it is making a bit of a lower high here. You can kind of see it is sitting below our line there and is a little bit of a lower high. So that volume is starting to slow up on that buying volume as well. Solana looking a bit bearish on these higher term time frames. 1 hour already getting that curvature back to the downside as that MACD line is pointed straight back towards our indicator line, and these candles are making lower highs. You do have that prime oscillator as well back in the heavy red, and our true 7 pointed down as our money flow starts rolling over and the volume is rolling over as well. Looking for that strong bounce back at the bottom side. You do have that $130 level, which might be a strong bounce point. If we are unable to maintain that, that's where I'd look at that golden pocket or potentially back down at 106.50. And that's a very nice level to scoop up some Solana if you do have some long-term conviction in the project. I see Steve Hickey in the chats. Good morning to you, and Ernie as well. Good morning. Hope y'all are having a great morning so far, getting that caffeine in and getting prepped for the day. I see Robert Mulligan. Good morning. Can you peek at Jasmine? Can most definitely take a look at that as well. I was going to take a brief look at Ethereum. It has been in a big downtrend as well. I talked about that $1,938 point, and it looks like you might see that. You've got the 1 hour breaking below our indicator line, printing some red candles here. Prime oscillator looking quite red. Money flow starting to roll over again. It did make a higher low here, so we'll kind of have to see if that makes another higher low on our money flow, or if it continues to roll over here. You do have the volume starting to slow up on that buying volume as well. Let's take a look at that 15-minute and see what the morning is bringing our way. Looking like a strong break of our MACD below that 0 line as that indicator line is curving to the bottom as well. Money flow really rolling over here as you're making some higher lows here. prime oscillator looking heavily red as our volume is starting to increase on some selling volume. So looking to see if we can turn some of these lower levels into some support. That's going to be 2,166, where we might see a potential bounce. If we're unable to hold that, I'd look back down at our 236 on our Fibonacci extension, and that's about $2,052. You did see a nice strong bounce off of that psychological $2,000. If we're unable to maintain all of this area right here, ranging from about 2,100 all the way to 2,000, then it looks quite ugly for a move back down to that 1,938. That was ETH. Let's take a quick look at Jasmy. I think it's on my alt list. Let's see. There it is. Haven't taken a look at Jasmy in quite a while here. Looks like I took a look at it on a different chart. So let's zoom this on out to a weekly time frame. Get a macro fib pulled up here. We are sitting below the zero line here. So let's pull it from the lows down here and get that move to the top side. Zoom that on in just a bit. Make sure that zero line is on the money. It is not. Let's move it on up just a little bit there. All right, let's lock that. Zoom this on in to our daily look, and you can kind of see here we are sitting at the platinum pocket looking for a move to the upside. You do have that volume which is slowing up on some selling volume. You did print your first light green candle here on volume as your prime oscillator is sitting light red. MACD really constricted here with that indicator line and is breaking to the top side of it. So looking for that push to the upside and to turn this platinum pocket into some strong support. Let's zoom this on in towards our hourly and see what the day might bring our way. Looking like we've got some strong buying volume here. Prime oscillator looking to cool off quite heavily as we are moving a bit more sideways. So that's where I'd look maybe at the platinum pocket all over again for that bounce towards the upside. Plenty of room to run on that higher term time frame. That shorter term time frame just needs to cool off a bit here. We do have the 15-minute looking like it's already getting to that point where you might start seeing some bottoming. So for a short term time frame bounce, if you are able to maintain that 0.17, which we're sitting right above, we got some strong bounces off of that. That's 0.1707. That'd be that first little area I would look to try to maintain for a bounce. You got some rejections to the tops from the top side, and then a nice strong bounce off of it. That'd be that first real area I would look for on the short-term time frame. Unable to maintain that, look back at that platinum pocket for a strong bounce towards the upside. All right, it is 6:53. I'm gonna wind the show down. We do have Alexo Crypto here in just a second, so make sure to hop over to Alexo Crypto, drop some of those graduation caps in the chat as you get over there. Let them know that you're heading over from the Piper Academy. Make sure to tune in to that morning market report at 10 a.m. That's with OC Guy this week as Piper is on some vacation. With TradeFly, he's been dropping a lot in the Discord, showing everyone that fun they're having. Apparently, he's been having quite a bit of fun, and we've been teasing him about wearing a man purse. So there's a funny picture of that in the Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord, you're missing out on a lot of fun, both in general and then in the charts as well. So join that Discord that is pinned in the chat. We've also got the Trade Academy at 4 p.m. Eastern time. It has a lot on the charts there. Trade Intuition is an amazing analyst. I have a lot of fun in his chats there too, so make sure to tune into that one. Hit that like button for him. Ask him some questions. He does a great breakdown on some questions. He really talks his thought process out. So if you need a little reassurance on some of the moves that you're seeing, and you're like, why should I think this way? He really breaks that down quite nicely. So tune in at that 4 p.m. Eastern time. We've also got Markets After Dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto at 11 p.m. Another great show to watch. Make sure to hit those like buttons for all the shows on the channel. Hit that subscribe and notification bell so you get alerted every single time we go live. If you need any other help, make sure to join that Discord and ask some questions there. We also have some great traders in the Discord as well that share their thoughts daily, and we really are a great community. Other than that, make sure to trade safe because we do have a little bit of volatility that will be heading our way at 8:30 Eastern time. Other than that, wake up because today's going to be a good day.